I never thought a day would come when something so small, so gentle, so unexpected would bring tears to my eyes. But it happened today, and it happened because of you. I wish you could have seen the moment, the way I stopped in the middle of what I was doing, the way my breath caught in my throat, the way my hands froze for a second like my heart was telling me to slow down. You were on my mind before I even realized it. Have you ever felt a presence before a thought, like someone's energy reaches you before their words do? I kept replaying something you said. It was simple, soft, but it hit me with a force that I didn't understand at first, and that confusion became warmth, and that warmth became a kind of ache, and that ache became something deeper, something I have been trying to avoid for years, something I believed I didn't deserve anymore. But you changed that today. You made me feel human in a way that surprised me. You made me feel like love is not something you choose, it is something that chooses you. Before I go further, let me ask this gently. If you want to stay connected with me, if these words make you feel something even slightly familiar, then like this video and subscribe. Tell me where you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. And if someone in your family or a friend might feel comfort from these words, share this with them. Do it only if it helps you stay close to me, not for any other reason. All day I kept thinking about you. It didn't make sense at first. I have lived a life filled with responsibilities, decisions, challenges, and expectations. People expect me to think logically, act strategically, build big things, change industries. But behind all of that, there is a part of me that is still searching for something real. Something warm. Something that feels like home, even when you are far away. And today, that part of me pointed toward you with such clarity that I couldn't pretend it wasn't happening. My son saw me distracted and asked me what happened. He is young, but children feel energies before adults do. He walked up to me and said, "Why are your eyes shiny?" I smiled and told him nothing, just thinking. But he kept looking at me like he already knew it wasn't nothing. Kids always know when adults are not telling the full truth. And then he said something that made my heart tighten. He said, "Did you find her today?" I didn't answer. I just looked away because it scared me how close his question was to what I was feeling. Have you ever had a moment where your child or someone younger sees the truth in you before you admit it to yourself? Later in the day, my mom called me. She always knows when something shifts in me. She doesn't even need to see my face. She hears it in my breathing, in the silence between my words. She asked me if I had been thinking about someone. And I laughed. Because how do you explain something that doesn't fully make sense yet? She told me she watched one of my videos again, and she said she noticed the way I spoke, the softness that wasn't there before. And then she said the exact words that shook me. She said, "Whoever she is, she must be special." My mom is not a person who romanticizes life. She is practical, direct, grounded. So hearing her say that made my heart pause. And it made me think of you even more. What does someone have to be like to be called special by a mother? What does special mean to you? Later, my dad walked past me in the house. He rarely comments on my personal emotions. We are close, but our connection is usually built on strength, responsibility, and understanding things without speaking them. But today he touched my shoulder and said, "Whatever is bothering you will make sense soon." I didn't tell him it wasn't bothering me. It was opening me. It was waking something in me that I had buried for too long, but he sensed it anyway. Fathers know the silent parts of their sons. And while all this was happening, you kept returning to my mind. Not your face. Not your appearance. It was something deeper. Something like a frequency my heart was tuned to without realizing it. Sometimes it felt like you were standing right next to me, even though we have never met. It felt like I could reach out and touch the meaning of your presence. It felt like destiny trying to whisper something through the noise of the world. Do you believe in destiny? Or do you think love is something we create moment by moment? My sister texted me later and sent a random heart emoji. She does that when she feels my energy shift. We don't even talk about feelings directly, but she always senses when something or someone has shaken me a little. She asked, "Are you talking to someone new?" I told her no. Because how do you explain the presence of someone you have never met in person? How do you explain that a woman watching a video somewhere in the world made you feel more alive than conversations you have had face to face? And I know this might sound strange, but even my brother brought it up. He said, "You seem different today." He didn't mean stressed. He meant softened. Calmer, like a part of me that had been tense for years, finally breathed for the first time. Maybe your heart recognized mine before my mind understood what was happening. I kept wondering what it is about you. Why your presence feels like a memory I forgot to live. Why your voice in my imagination sounds like something familiar. Why your silence feels warm instead of empty. And why it felt like my heart was trying to reach out to you in ways I can't logically explain. Have you ever felt a love before it started? Have you ever felt seen by someone without being in the same room? Have you ever felt chosen without a single word being exchanged? I tried to keep myself busy, but everything I did brought me back to you. Every moment of distraction lasted only a few seconds before my mind drifted toward you again, and I kept asking myself why. Why you? Why today? Why this feeling? Why now? Then it hit me. Maybe it's because you are watching this right now. Maybe my heart was tugging at me all day because it knew your eyes would meet mine through this screen. Maybe love does not need a beginning. Maybe it only needs recognition. And when I realized that, my eyes watered again. Not because I was sad, but because I felt something return to me that I thought was gone. I felt hope. I felt possibility. I felt a kind of gentle trembling inside my chest that reminded me of the first time I ever fell in love. What made you believe in love the first time? You know what surprised me the most? Every woman watching this right now is feeling like I am talking directly to her. And the truth is maybe I am. Because my heart did not choose a face. It chose a feeling. It chose a presence. It chose the woman who is here, right now, listening with her heart open, breathing a little slower, wondering if I am talking about her. Maybe I am. Maybe you are the one who touched something inside me today without even knowing it. Maybe you are the one my son sensed. Maybe you are the one my mom picked up on. Maybe you are the one my dad felt in my silence. Maybe you are the one my sister noticed. Maybe you are the one my brother teased me about. Or maybe you are the one destiny has been trying to push toward me quietly, gently, patiently. Tell me something. Do you feel it too? Do you feel that strange pull in your chest? Do you feel like this moment is bigger than a video? Do you feel like something in your life has been waiting for this? Because if you do, then my tears today were not a mistake. They were recognition. They were acceptance. They were the beginning of something I am ready to understand. And now I feel something else rising in me. Something I want to say, but I want to know if you are ready to hear it. My heart is telling me to take a step, but I can feel the weight of that step. The next words I say might change the way you see me. They might change the way you see yourself. And I want to be sure you are prepared for what comes next. I took a long breath before speaking again, because what happened after that moment stayed with me the entire evening. It kept pulling me back into the same place, inside my heart where your presence was quietly sitting, like a soft glow that refused to fade. I kept trying to explain it to myself, searching for logic, searching for patterns, searching for reasons, but nothing made sense in the usual way. It wasn't logic, it wasn't timing, it wasn't coincidence, it was something deeper, something that moves through a person without permission, without warning, without rules. And it felt like you were the center of that movement. After finishing my work, I was still thinking about the way your presence lingered in my mind. It didn't feel like imagination. It felt like memory. A memory from a life we haven't lived yet. Have you ever felt something that seemed familiar even though it has never happened? Like meeting someone you already know, even though you can't explain why. I walked outside for a moment, just to breathe, just to reset my mind. But the air felt different. The evening was quiet, almost too quiet, like the world was pausing so I could understand what my heart was trying to say. I sat down for a moment and stared up at the sky, and every star felt like it was trying to tell me something. Not with words, but with presence, with stillness, with that strange feeling that life is bigger than we realize. And while I sat there, your face appeared in my thoughts again, not clearly, but in a way that felt perfect. Soft, gentle, warm, like someone my soul recognizes before my eyes do. What kind of presence makes someone feel known without ever meeting them? Do you believe two hearts can connect before two people speak? I went back inside and my son followed me. He looked at me with curiosity, like he had been watching me from a distance all evening. He sat down beside me and asked if I was thinking about that woman again. I didn't even correct him, because his heart understood something before my mind had the courage to admit it. He said he hopes I find someone who makes me smile the way I did earlier. And then he added something that stayed in my mind long after he walked away. He said, maybe she is watching you right now. His innocence mixed with truth in a way that made my chest feel warm. Children have a strange way of seeing connections we hide from ourselves. And the way he said it made me wonder if he was right. Maybe you are watching me now, not as a stranger, but as someone already tied to me through something we can't explain. I kept thinking about how you would react if you heard what he said. Would you smile softly? Would you wonder if he was talking about you? Would you feel something move inside your heart the same way something moved inside mine earlier? What does it feel like when someone's child unknowingly chooses you before the person does? Later, my mom called again. She rarely calls twice in one day unless she feels something important. She said she couldn't stop thinking about the way my voice sounded earlier. She told me that sometimes love enters your life through a quiet doorway you didn't even notice. Then she asked me something unexpected. She said, if this woman stood in front of you right now, what would you say to her? I stayed silent, because the words formed in my heart faster than I could speak them. I would tell her that she made me feel alive today, that she made me remember parts of myself I forgot existed, that she made me feel seen without even trying. And that terrifies me in the best possible way. But before I told my mom any of that, I asked her what she thought I should say. She said something that shook me again. She said, tell her the truth. The truth is always what the heart remembers. And she went quiet after that, letting her words settle inside me. What does honesty mean to you in love? Do you believe in speaking your heart even when it scares you? My dad came into the room later, holding a cup of tea. He handed it to me and sat down without saying anything for a while. My dad is not someone who expresses feelings easily. He is someone who shows love through presence, not words. But today he decided to speak. He said, you look like a man who found something he didn't know he was searching for. I didn't respond, but he continued. He said that when real love begins, it rarely announces itself loudly. Instead, it walks softly, quietly, respectfully. And only the heart can hear it. I don't know if he knew he was describing what you made me feel. But it felt like he was speaking directly about you. My sister sent me another message, this time asking if I was avoiding telling her something. I laughed, because she knows me too well. I told her that it's nothing. She replied with a simple line that made my heart pause. She said, sometimes you don't know you're falling for someone until your energy changes. Has anyone ever told you that your energy reveals your heart before your words do? Even my brother noticed something was different. He asked if I was distracted or in love, and he laughed after saying it. He didn't expect an answer. But the way he said it made me think. Maybe what I felt today wasn't confusion. Maybe it was recognition. Maybe it was something deeper than I am ready to admit, but something I am starting to understand. I went back to reading your comment, the one that started all of this. And the more I read it, the more I realized it wasn't the words that moved me. It was the feeling behind them. The intention. The softness. The sincerity. It felt like you wrote it with your heart instead of your hands. And that is rare. Very rare. Have you ever written something for someone without realizing the impact it would have? Your presence kept growing in my mind throughout the night. Every time I closed my eyes, your presence followed. Every time I breathed deeply, it felt like my breath carried a part of you inside it. I don't know how to describe this without sounding unreal, but your energy felt like it was wrapping around me gently, like a warm blanket in a quiet room. And in that moment, I realized something that made me sit very still. I wasn't thinking about just any woman. I was thinking about the woman who is watching this right now. The one whose heart is open. The one who feels a familiar pull. The one who feels like I am talking directly to her. The one who is reading my emotions the same way I am feeling them. I know this video has many viewers, but only one woman feels this deeply connected right now. And my heart keeps pointing toward her. Toward you. Toward the feeling you create inside me. Do you feel chosen in this moment? Because my soul is trying to choose you without my permission. I started imagining what it would be like if you were sitting across from me right now. If I could see your eyes, your breath, the way your heart responds to my voice, I imagined what it would feel like to look at you and say everything I am feeling in this moment. Would you hold my gaze, or would your eyes drift away shyly? Would your heart race a little? Would you feel warmth spreading through your chest? What do you feel right now as you listen? Do you feel curiosity? Do you feel fear? Do you feel hope? Do you feel like something inside you is waking up? Later in the night, I sat alone and thought about love. Real love. Not stories. Not fantasies. The kind of love that lives in the quiet places of the heart. The kind that grows without noise. The kind that chooses you slowly, beautifully, silently. And I wondered what you believe love truly is. Is it comfort? Is it recognition? Is it destiny? Is it the feeling of coming home to someone without ever living with them? I kept thinking about how strange it is that someone I have never met could affect me this deeply. But then I remembered something my mom once said when I was younger. She said that the heart can see what the eyes cannot. And today, my heart saw you more clearly than anything else around me. The idea of you being in my future started to feel less like imagination and more like a quiet promise the universe whispered. And I cannot explain why, but it didn't scare me. It comforted me. It made me feel more at peace than I have felt in a long time. I kept wondering if you felt something similar. Do you ever imagine a life that feels too real to be fictional? I thought about how you would fit into my family, how my mom would adore you, how my dad would admire your strength, how my sister would talk to you late into the night, how my brother would protect you like family from day one, and how my son would look at you with the kind of trust only children give to people they feel instantly safe with. Somewhere in my thoughts, I realized something terrifying and beautiful. You already feel like a part of my life, not as a fantasy, not as an idea, as a presence, as a connection, as someone who walked into my heart without knocking and settled there quietly, confidently, softly. What kind of woman enters a man's life through the door of his soul, instead of the door of his home? The way I feel right now, I can't hide it. I don't want to hide it. My heart keeps whispering your name, even though I don't know it yet. My thoughts keep shaping themselves around the idea of you. And the tears I cried earlier were not tears of pain. They were tears of recognition. Tears of truth. Tears of knowing that something in my life shifted today. I keep wondering where you are sitting. What room you are in. What light is touching your face. What emotions you are holding inside your chest right now. And I keep wondering one question that feels heavier than everything else. Are you ready for what I am about to say next? Because it will pull you closer to me in a way that neither one of us can undo. Tell me something before I speak the next words. What does it feel like to be seen by a man who is speaking with his heart instead of his logic? What does it feel like to be chosen in silence before being chosen out loud? What does it feel like to know that a man's family might already sense your place in his life? Because the next thing I want to say might take you deeper into this connection than you expect. And I need to know if you are ready for that. I want to continue from the place my heart was standing when I paused, because that feeling did not fade. If anything, it grew stronger, softer, deeper, like a quiet wave rising inside me. I realized that everything I felt in the last hours was leading me to this moment. A moment where I speak to you not as someone on a screen, not as someone distant, but as a man who has finally stopped running from the truth inside his chest. And that truth has your name written on it, even if I have not spoken it yet. After thinking about you all day, I finally sat down, placed my hands on my knees, closed my eyes, and allowed myself to feel everything fully. No distractions, no logic, no shields, just presence. And you were there in that silence. You felt like calm. You felt like warmth. You felt like someone my heart recognized from a different lifetime. Have you ever met someone who felt like a continuation instead of a beginning? Something strange happened. I imagined you sitting beside me. I imagined your hand resting close enough for me to feel the warmth, but not touching. And I felt something inside me soften. A part of me that has been guarded for years finally loosened. It was like my heart whispered, "This is the woman I have been waiting for." And that whisper made everything inside me still. I thought again about how my family would react to you. Not in theory. In reality. I could imagine my mom welcoming you with that gentle smile she saves only for the people she immediately loves. She would talk to you as if she already knew you. Because mothers sense genuine hearts instantly. My dad would stand a little straighter, offer you respect without needing to say much. My sister would pull you into her circle right away, asking you questions, laughing with you, admiring the way you speak. My brother would make small jokes to make you comfortable. And my son, he would look at you with curiosity at first, and then with affection, the kind only children give to someone who feels safe. I realized that if you ever walked into my home, you wouldn't feel like a guest. You would feel like someone returning to a place she was always meant to be. Do you ever imagine yourself stepping into a home that already feels like your own? Does your heart ever walk ahead of you, choosing places before your feet arrive? The more I thought about you, the more I realized something that shook me deeply. You did not come into my life through logic. You came through feeling, through presence, through something I can't explain but cannot deny. And that is why today felt so powerful. It wasn't something I thought about. It was something I felt, something my soul reacted to before my mind could understand. There was a moment in the evening where I wondered what your life looks like. How your smile looks when no one is watching. How your heart sounds when it breaks. How you breathe when something moves you deeply. And I wondered which version of yourself you hide from the world, and which version you would allow me to see. What part of your heart do you keep protected, and what part of it longs to be seen? As I kept thinking, something unexpected happened. I felt a kind of fear. Not the fear that pushes you away. The fear that tells you something matters. The fear that tells you to be careful, because the next step could change everything. And I realized that the reason I was afraid is because this feeling is not small. It is not temporary. It is not passing. It feels like the beginning of something important. Something life-changing. Something that requires trust, vulnerability, and honesty. It made me ask myself a question I want to ask you as well. Are you ready to be loved by someone who feels you this deeply? Are you ready to open the parts of yourself that you hide from the world? Are you ready to be chosen in a way that leaves no room for doubt? Because that is what my heart feels rising inside me. A kind of certainty that I cannot push away anymore. A certainty that points directly to you. I walked to the mirror for a moment, looked at myself, and wondered if you would accept this version of me. Not the public man. Not the inventor. Not the leader. Just a man. A human being with flaws, hopes, fears, and a heart that beats more vulnerably than people realize. And I wondered if you would see me and say, he is enough. Would you? Would you accept a man who loves deeply even if he expresses it quietly? Would you hold the parts of me that feel fragile? Would you trust that my loyalty runs deeper than anything else in my life? Because these are questions a man asks only when he sees a future unfolding in front of him. And that future has your presence woven into it. Not by force. Not by intention. But by something that feels guided, natural, inevitable. Tonight, as I sit here speaking to you, I feel something clearer than I have felt in a long time. You are not just a viewer. You are not just a moment. You are not just a thought. You are a possibility, a connection, a presence. A woman whose soul brushed against mine today and left a mark I cannot ignore. I want to ask you something softly. What does your heart feel right now? Not your mind, not your logic, your heart. Does it feel warm? Does it feel nervous? Does it feel seen? Does it feel chosen? Because if it does, then you already understand what I am about to say. All my life I have been searching for something real. Something honest. Something that feels like home in a world filled with noise. And today, without expecting it, without preparing for it, without even wanting it, you made me feel that home. You made me feel something so deep that it brought tears to my eyes. Tears I didn't hide. Tears that told me something important is happening. And now I need to say what has been sitting inside my chest all day. If you are the woman who feels this connection the way I do, then I want you to know something. You are not just a moment in my day. You are not just a thought that came and went. You are the woman my heart paused for. The woman my family sensed. The woman my son asked about. The woman my soul recognized without permission. And maybe that means something bigger than either of us realized at first. As I reach the end of this moment with you, I want to leave you with a truth that feels heavier than every word I have spoken so far. If destiny placed you here today, if your heart is feeling this in a way you cannot explain, then trust it. Trust the pull. Trust the warmth. Trust the connection.